Hype. Come with me tonight. Get to see. I wanna be with you. Hype. Come with me tonight.
Hello, people. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV on this cold Wednesday evening. To my right is Jay, and we're here to talk about David Sullivan, cheap like the Canary that he is, because that's the only thing he knows how to do is be cheap, and potential manager replacements for Julian Lopetegui. Jay, how are you doing?
I'm good. I only just got the video title. Cheap like a canary. Yeah, of course. I was sitting here like, am I missing something? I've just got it. So yeah, I'm good, mate. I've learned something today. How are you?
Cheap like the Canary. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm good. I've had a few days of having to deal with wankers on X. Do you know what I mean? Naming no names, but
I've seen.
yeah. I've had two people that just literally want to come at the fat man, and when they come at me, mate, they got to realise saying I will fire back with everything, and I will not hesitate at all. So yeah, I've had to deal with them. I've seen the odds. I've done a little bit of research the other night, had a look into it, and I've even put the odds on the thumbnail in regards of who I think potentially could be coming to West Ham. What are you saying in regards of what you've seen with them? Because there's one, I'm going to say this, there's one person on there that I do believe could happen, and that's Terzic. Right? I don't know why.
I'll very quickly, and then I'll be interested to hear what you think that one will happen. Obviously, the three main names being Potter, Terzic, Southgate, right? That's the three probably shortest odds. The odds that I've got in front of me are from 2 days ago. I don't know whether they've changed.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. I'd say I'm not blown away, but I'm not like throwing up in my hands from any of those names. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I made my opinions on Potter clear the other day. I think he's a good manager. I think he did very, very well at Brighton. He came from lower leagues. He seems like lower leagues in Sweden, didn't he? Seems like he's a good man manager. I just don't think we're the right club for him. He struggled at Chelsea. A lot of pressure there. A volatile fan base, a volatile owner, very similar to us. I don't think he does well at West Ham. Southgate is very, very non-glamorous. He's not done anything in club management before. He was not all that popular at England, but say what you will. Again, a very good man manager, seems to understand people and personalities, which is, whether you like it or not, is a very big part of the modern game, but will not be anything different to what we're used to. So not blown away, but not terrified by that. And then there's Terzic, who I must confess, I don't know a huge amount about, other than obviously he was assistant at West Ham. He done well in the Champions League, but not great in the league for Dortmund last year. But like, I'm interested to hear why you think that's got a chance and what your thoughts on Terzic are.
The reason why is that, one, he's been here before. Two, he's free, which is a big thing. I think he could work with Steiden in a relationship that could, both of them could be going in the same direction in regards to styles of player. I think out of all the people that's being mentioned currently right now, he's the only one that I look at and think, yeah, I can see that one happening. Obviously, the outsiders like Rafa and things like that, and I see the Canio in the chat there saying Rafa facts. I agree, yeah. If he goes down the Rafa route, then I think he'd be strung out of East London. If he goes for Frank Lampard, which I've seen today, which I want to talk about, then he's literally taking the piss out of every fan. Do you know what I mean? What did you make of that? What you see earlier on? Because TalkSport are saying it. Someone said it on X. What we saying?
I don't know if I could keep my season ticket if Frank Lampard's at the helm. Like it's that deep. Like how like bad the relationship is between Frank Lampard and West Ham United. Not only that, right? I was looking at his stats as a manager. He is probably one of the worst managers that we could possibly go for. Like one of the worst supposedly top tier managers that are out there and gettable, right? Let's just go through what he actually did as a manager. He took Derby and nearly ran them out of business. He had a squad that was way too good for the Championship, and he failed to get promoted with them. He somehow walked straight into the Chelsea job. God knows how he did that. Managed to scramble his way to fourth in his first season somehow, and then got hounded out. And then I believe Thomas Tuchel goes and wins the Champions League with that group of players. So tells you everything you need to know about his managerial ability. His time at Everton, he was awful. Everton fans hated him, and he was not a good manager there. And then he gets the caretaker role at Chelsea again. He won 1 game out of 11. 1 out of 11 is his most recent spell. That's a 9% win rate. That's relegation form for a squad that is supposedly like Champions League quality. So if there's any world that Frank Lampard ends up as West Ham manager, it ends in tears and it ends very, very quickly, is what I would say. What are you saying on that front?
That reminds me of Rafa at Everton all over again. When Rafa was at Everton, Everton fans despised him. That was their manager.
Yeah.
And the same thing will be said in regards of Frank Lampard. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but if West Ham go for Frank Lampard on a sort of interim basis, then I don't know what we've become. I really don't. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Would it surprise me with Sullivan? Absolutely not, because we all know what he's going to do. Yeah. Excuse me. I think I would actually stop. I think I would support West Ham, but I'd be like, I can't get involved in anything like to do with YouTube or nothing. 100%.
Yeah.
I can't. I see what Dad's Jobs podcast says here. I would back Frank Lampard. I wouldn't back him as far as I throw him, mate. I wouldn't back him as far as I throw him. Yeah, he's big fat Frank for a reason. Yeah, and we sing a song about him religiously because this geezer was kissing badges and taking the piss out of us back in the day. Yeah, when we left him, and let's have it right. We made Frank Lampard's career at West Ham. Yeah, we made him the player he was. Yeah, and he went on to Chelsea and started winning stuff and started rubbing it in our face. So no, I don't want it. I don't give a fuck if he's been like a player from the past. There's been many players from the past. Do you know what I mean? Kevin Keane, I'd rather give it to him. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather let him go and do it than Frank Lampard because
I'd rather have Kevin Nolan. I'd rather take Gary O'Neill from Wolves if he leaves Wolves. And I'm not saying I want Gary O'Neill, but I'd rather him. Like, I'd rather any former player. Jermaine Defoe's looking for a managerial job. I'd rather Jermaine Defoe. That's how bad it is that I'd rather him. Like, Lampard is one of the worst matches for West Ham there could possibly be. And I'm not accepting if Frank Lampard wants to come to West Ham as his A, redemption arc in the Premier League, and B, his like redemption arc with West Ham fans. I'm not having it. He's like, that ship sailed a long, long time ago. I'm not accepting Frank Lampard at West Ham. And again, to the whoever it was who said I would back Frank Lampard, that's not me saying that I would like hound him out. I still, if he somehow in some alternate universe ended up as West Ham manager, I still support the club, not the manager. I'm a West Ham fan first and foremost. So let's get that straight. But could I turn up and like enjoy it every week? I honestly don't know. And I hope I never have to find out. But it's a match made in hell and it ends in tears.
That's like having Rio Ferdinand as your manager.
Oh, God. He's another one who would be one of the worst that you could get.
Like, it's like saying, oh, come on, Rio, you can come and do it. Like, no, listen, come on, we're better than that. Like, I see what Colin says there, yeah, and chuck your questions in for me and Jay, yeah. Good evening, Jay and James, or James and Jay, however you want to put it. Would you take Sebastian Hoeness, is it?
Hoeness, yeah, from Stuttgart. First of all, welcome, Colin, my E16 brother. Always good to see you. Sebastian Hoeness is a really trendy name at the moment. He's at Stuttgart. They finished third last year in the German league and quietly had a fantastic season. I can't confess to having seen them play very much because everyone was waxing lyrical about Leverkusen and nobody really paid that much attention to Stuttgart, who also had a phenomenal season. The man's obviously achieved something brilliant with what's the best word? Like a second tier team in the German top league. Probably a similar kind of echelon as what West Ham are in the Premier League. They're a big name in that league, but are not one of the main clubs that you'd associate. It's only really 2 clubs in that league, really. But either way, I'd absolutely rip your arm off for him, Colin. But at the same time, I don't see why he would come to West Ham. I honestly don't see it. I think he's being touted as the replacement for Xabi Alonso at Leverkusen. So I think you're more likely to see him go to Leverkusen at the end of the season. There's also talk of Carlo Ancelotti is under pressure at Real Madrid, which could see a massive merry-go-round happen of Xabi Alonso goes to Real Madrid, Sebastian Hoeness then goes to Bayer Leverkusen. So I don't think it will happen. I'd rip your arm off for him, but that's what I think will happen if Carlo Ancelotti goes.
I've got a question for you. I've got a question for everyone in the chat. All 42, 40 of you. There was 42. 2 of them are left. Would you take a interim manager for the rest of the season if you know that you can pinpoint a top end name next season, like next summer?
If we 100% knew that we were going to go and get, I saw Conceição. I saw someone mention Conceição's name in chat earlier as well. Let's say we had a deal lined up to say Conceição is coming in at the end of the season. I would take an interim, knowing that we have, begrudgingly knowing we probably have to write this season off, because I don't like the concept of interim managers. I don't think it is what West Ham need. We have made a short-term appointment in Julian Lopetegui, and it is backfiring massively. So I don't like the idea of going for what was a stopgap. I mean, let's look at it this way. Julian Lopetegui is a stopgap. We all know that there is a mystery manager who we've touted and who we've been pursuing to try and take over at the end of next season. So this is a short-term appointment. Having another short-term appointment without a guarantee, I would say no. But having a short-term appointment for like the rest of the season to then give it to someone who we're actually going to give a project to, who we're actually going to give the backing to, who we're actually going to get the right players for, yeah, I would take it. Begrudgingly, but I would take it. What are you saying on that front?
I think this season's a write-off, if I'm being real. Yeah, the problem I've got is that what damage is going to be done this season in regard to players leaving. Yeah, that's more that what I'm concerned about. Yeah, I can't see us getting anywhere near Europe right now. Even if a new manager comes in, yeah, we would have to have some sort of, like, it all depends on who the manager is. If he comes in and we hit the ground running bang straight away, then we might do, but it's going to be touch and go. Yeah. For me, I just think you need someone to steady the ship. I really do. I think you need someone who's going to come in there, steady the ship, get players playing, help Bowen as the captain of the club, and basically sort this mess out from the bottom and then work our way back up again. Do you know what I'm saying? If someone said to me right now, James, you've got an interim manager for the rest of the season, but you know full well that you're going to go out and you're going to pinpoint a manager that is going to be a long-term person for the next 5 years, I would accept that, because I need to see a project, because I ain't seeing no project at all. Right, at this club, there is no project. And when people keep saying there's a project, there is none. Right? Lopetegui's here, but he's here for 2 years. And basically, he's here to try and get us into Europe. He ain't going to do that. So, honestly, Jay, yeah, it's so tricky, mate, because whoever we get in right now, they've got to work with a crop of players that are half Moyes', half Lopetegui's. You've also got to work with no money, because is he going to get any money in January, or is there a possibility that we might have to sell someone in order to give him what he needs? I think the only thing I can think of is an interim basis for someone to come in and see how they get on. A bit like how Moyes was before, when it was Billage, if you remember rightly. When Billage left, Moyes come in and all that. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyone wants to come on, they can come on. Just come in and you can have your say on what's being said. Can you see Tim going to Arsenal and taking Kudus with him? I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess. If he goes to Arsenal, it tells you what he's all about, doesn't it, Jay? Really? I can't.
It's a good question from Michael, because I can see it happening. There's a lot of like talk going on. Not a lot, sorry. Well, I've started to see the articles popping up and the rumours of Steidon on his way out, potential that Steidon leaves before the end of the season, potentially leaves at the end of the season. I could see it happening. I really, really could. They obviously need to replace their man. So I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility. And like get this like 100% right now. If Arsenal bids 85, 90 million in January for Mohamed Kudus, we sell him 100%. Like David Sullivan accepts that. And then he goes, all right, you want money to spend on a striker. Here's 40 million for your striker, and you can replace Kudus with a young player for 20, and then he pockets the rest. Oh, mate, that happens 100%. Like, don't even, nobody in chat even like
I'll tell you
pretends
what,
that doesn't get accepted.
Tell you what, if Arsenal come in, take our technical director, take Declan Rice from previous, take Kudus, right, then we are going to have to suffer as supporters of this club.
Yeah.
I mean, suffer we will, especially with them lot. Yeah, because they are fucking unbearable, and we all know it. Yeah, it'd be you sold your star, got rid of a technical director to us. That's worse than Lampard, I think. That's saying something, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Christ.
Right, let's get this man in. Dad's Our Job podcast. What you saying?
Hello, chaps. How you doing? This is Adam from the podcast, the West Ham fan. How you getting on?
All good, mate. Life is great. We've got Sullivan in charge. We've got a shit manager. But what do you want to say, man?
I just wanted to touch on the Frank Lampard stuff, really. That obviously it's been pointed out that there's a lot of negativity coming across with Frank. And I just want to play devil's advocate with it because I don't think he's a terrible option to replace Lopetegui if it happens. I know there was a bit of people criticising him because of his Everton spell, but I think we could have to all take that into account that the state of that club when he was put in charge is catastrophic. I mean, they were on the verge of points deductions. They were constantly battling relegation, and considering the status of the club at the time, to survive relegation was considered a success. His average points per game was 1 point per game, which is 38 points a season. If you look at it that way, he managed 44 games, and I think he done a reasonably good job with the tools at hand. And also bear in mind, he did sign Onana from under West Ham's noses when West Ham were interested and had a bid accepted. And if a player like that opts to go to a club like Everton to play under Frank Lampard rather than join a West Ham team in Europe, there's something in that. And I think that has to be taken into account. But looking at his Derby and Chelsea spells, people again are glossing over the fact here. He got a 1.63 points per game ratio with Derby, with a very, very young side, including loanees like Mason Mount. And then when he took over, he got to a playoff final, and it was the infamous Bielsa binoculars game where he beat them in the semi-final, but was very unlucky in the final. I think it was a very narrow loss. It was only, let's say, 90 minutes away from getting a team up promoted. And I think that, when you're looking at Derby County, I think that would have been an achievement in itself again. But then obviously he got the Chelsea job, and he took that Chelsea job on, and they only made one transfer that summer, and that was Christian Pulisic, which was a pre-agreement. And they had a transfer ban, so they couldn't buy anyone. So he had to they think they sold off all their players, and he resulted to youth players. And that team consisted of players like Tomori, Abraham, Mason Mount, Reece James, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I could go on. There's so many different youngsters in that squad that he got the best out of. And I think Chelsea before that were quite unflattering. I think it was it Sarri before that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, considering where they were in the league, I think it was very underperforming. I don't think a lot of the Chelsea fans were favourable of that. But when you think of what he achieved with having no transfers, relying on the academy at the time, and achieved a 4th place finish for Chelsea, and then to be the last English manager to get to an FA Cup final, I think he needs a bit more credit than what he deserves.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to hand it over to Joe. Yeah, he won't last 5 minutes at West Ham, mate, because once he has a bad run of form, the venom will come out. Yeah, if people can turn on Moyes, who delivered them a trophy and successive European campaigns, they won't last. Lampard won't last 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're saying is not incorrect, but for me, Lampard done a lot of dirty to West Ham over the years, and I just, for me personally, I grew up in that era. I can't have that geezer running their club. Yeah, there's other
Yeah,
people that.
Again, I think that hate has been, as I commented in the chat earlier. I think that hate materialised from before he even kicked a ball at West Ham professionally. You know, I think he was a 17, 18-year-old kid under the spotlight in a fans Q&A forum at, what was it, Hollywood Bowl in Romford or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was being ridiculed by grown men wanting to see Matty Holland play over a teenager because they thought
Scott Cannon.
Scott Cannon. There you go. Those two players and Frank Harry Redknapp made that famous rant saying, predicting his future, what he's going to be like, what he's going to do, and it come out to be true, didn't it? And I think sometimes, you know, let's all not forget, Frank Lampard was a West Ham boy. He was a West Ham fan. He grew up in Brentwood. His dad was a West Ham legend.
I can't hear it, Adam.
No, listen.
Listen. I was going to say this.
Things happen,
right?
And he got sold, and I think it left a very bitter taste in everyone's mouth when an academy product.
Right? Would you have Rio Ferdinand? Would you have Rio Ferdinand?
Ferdinand's got no managerial credentials, so that's out of the question. If there was another,
all right, points
player,
then. All right, points.
He's not good enough.
Yeah, but no, he's Lampard, bro.
Lampard's got more about him. I think he was even in for a shout for an England manager, wasn't he?
I reckon I had a chance to get an England job though, like,
right.
with the quality of English coaches. Like honestly,
again, that's the whole England appointment. That's another topic of conversation, isn't it? Because again, there seems to be a lack of quality in English coaches, so they've opted for a German to run the national team. But I quite like Tuchel. I quite like that appointment. But again, English coaches need to be better. But how can they be better if they don't get opportunities at the clubs at top level?
Yeah, I mean that's a valid point, but I'm not accepting that West Ham can be his opportunity to prove himself in the Premier League. When, for me, because I accept some of your points and I disagree with others.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Your point about his first season at Chelsea, I agree. He actually did a really, really good job in that first season at Chelsea. He almost ran Derby out of business. Let's make no mistake. He had a top quality Derby side. He may have had youngsters. Yeah, I agree. But one of the bare minimums, if you're going to be a top quality championship level manager, is you're going to have up and coming youngsters, and you have to be able to sort of mold them and do something with them. He had Mason Mount obviously in that season and did a brilliant job with him. Then did a brilliant job with him at Chelsea and probably molded him into the player that he became. And it's no coincidence that when he left, his career started to kind of fall apart. So I'll give you that. I'm not accepting anything after his first season at Chelsea as any kind of Premier League credentials. That last stint at Chelsea, 1 win in 11 games. He lost 8.
The caretaker role.
Yeah, he had, and that's not just he took it over for 2 games. You can't give that's that. He had 11 games. That's nearly a third of a season. He was in charge. He won 1 game.
Didn't they spend $1.5 billion on players though? Didn't have a squad depth for 47 players.
Yeah, but Enzo Maresca's got the same kind of size of squad, and he's doing a great job. He's got a lot more sort of.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
He's got he's got a lot more about him, I would say, than Frank Lampard has.
He has had a pre-season to.
This is true.
Squad and additional, even more transfers added on top, wasn't it?
This is true.
I think Frank Lampard. Who was the manager that he took over from? Lampard at that time.
I can't remember.
Tuchel, I think.
Yeah, it might.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, so
the
man that replaced Lampard in the first place. Oh, no, Potter was it? No, was it Potter? No, it was Tuchel. No, it was Tuchel.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Tuchel who took over because it was mid-season, wasn't it?
But then I also look back at the Everton point. He was there for a year, back into one season, start of another season. 12 wins in 44, 27% win ratio. Are we going to say that we're happy taking on a manager with a 27% win ratio? Because I wouldn't be, regardless of who he is. We can park how you feel about Lampard as an ex-West Ham player, etc. I think you'll be in the minority of people who are willing to give him a chance at West Ham.
I definitely am.
Good luck to you, I'd say. But I can't accept that this new like project that we're supposedly delivering is going to have a man with a 27% win ratio at his last like long-term job. I can't accept it. It's not ambitious enough for me.
I think he overachieved with that Everton squad. Do you know what I mean? And to get survival without a points deduction either, and I think he done relatively well in that sense. I think given the landscape and to get Premier League football, Sean Dyche is achieving that, and nobody's criticising him in his role.
Yeah, that's valid.
It's the level of expectations, isn't it? By the circumstances. I mean, they were. They went through COVID and they had that significant deficit that they tried to offset through losses, and they're being ridiculed because of it. But again, I just think in terms of the Everton side, I think that it is keeping Everton up with the squad and the situation that they were was the equivalent of keeping someone like Southampton up at the minute.
True.
And you think he's done a good job.
The thing is, at the end of the day, I just want to say this, right, Adam. Who would you have then, or is Lampard the guy you want?
The thing is, if they had to make an appointment now after sacking someone, then I would seriously consider Lampard. I would, just purely because I think when you look at the three available options at the moment, Edin Terzic. I mean, I think there's a lot of Dortmund fans out there that weren't very happy with him, which led to him stepping down from Dortmund in the summer rather than being sacked. Again, like free agent wise, there's not really a lot out there that can really improve us. And I just think it's more of a man management coach that we need at the minute rather than a tactical one. Because I think the players out there, and the structure that Stuyden's put in. I mean, Stuyden's getting a lot of criticism. Again, he doesn't coach, he doesn't manage. He buys players, he buys a squad, and on paper, I think he's done a very, 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 very good job in acquiring players like Todibo on loan.
But Adam, with what comes good, there is a balance, and there is another side of it. What comes shit in Carlos Soler, the cardio king, and obviously Guido Rodriguez, the man who runs around a lot, and a midfield that is like a donut with nothing in the middle. Like
with those two acquisitions, they've replaced Flynn Downs, and we made £18 million profit on that.
Yeah, but us fans, do we care about the money, or do we care about what's on the pitch?
Would you rather have Flynn Downs over Guido Rodriguez and Carlos Soler?
I would rather. Yeah. I would rather have. I'd rather have Andy Irving than them two at the minute. That's no joke.
And on that, I just wanted to add, we signed Flynn Downs for 12 million. We sold him for 18. So we made a
loan profit as well for Southampton the season before. So we made more money on him.
Yeah. That's valid.
If anything.
Yeah, that's valid. I look at the problems that we've got at the moment. We have no discipline in the sort of number 6 area. You got Edson Alvarez, who cannot be trusted. And you've got Guido Rodriguez, who hasn't shown anything to prove that he is the kind of number 6 that we need. Flynn Downs, when he played for West Ham in the European, his contributions in that Conference League campaign were sensational. He got man of the match time after time after time. So I do believe, as of right now, I would rather have Flynn Downs than either of those two players personally.
I mean, come on, guys. What has West Ham rhetoric got to? What has Tim Steid and Julian Lopetegui got to our club where we're talking about bringing Flynn Downs back? We're talking about Frank Lampard for manager. I mean, goodness me, gentlemen, what has gone on here? Seriously.
Jay, you've not met Richard, but he's
no,
one of the
guys. I've seen Rich online. I know what to expect. Didn't he have a row with his sister or something one time on the bed?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
No, not like that way. I'm just in the background.
Rich, what are you saying?
I'm saying Frank Lampard, one of the worst suggestions that I've ever heard. Talk about sacking Moyes to unite the fan base. Anyway, not that will ever happen. Look, the fact is, I'm going to call back, and this is a really unpopular opinion, right? And I think Lopetegui's got a lot of making up to do with the fan base. No one likes him. I mean, like my dad, who I go to games with, he absolutely fucking hates the geezer. Absolutely hates him. I don't really know why. I mean, I do know why. I've been watching the football as well. But I think, look, we said at the start of the season, James, and you and I had lots of this conversation. Lopetegui, what can we expect this season? And you were like, well, look, it's going to be a hard year. We both agreed it's going to be a really difficult year, and it's going to be tricky when he came in. And you said, look, realistically, the geezer's got to at least get half the season, right? And then you know, maybe we're given a full season and evaluate. What we can agree is that it wasn't the right appointment. We should have gone for an attacking manager, at least from the fans' point of view, someone who's attacking, who we can all get behind. We see the vision, right? Lopetegui's not that kind of guy. He's a tactician. He's a change things pragmatist. He's a bit like the Spanish David Moyes, right? But he would agree to the signing Steidon was making. That's the difference.
One thing I'm going to say on that, just 1 sec, yeah. I just want to come in on that. When you say he's like the Spanish David Moyes,
he is. He's worse.
Exactly that. Because one thing with Moyes, which I will defend him on this, is he could grind a result out if we was playing shit. With Lopetegui, I can't see it. I simply can't see it at all.
The thing is, right, at no point in the last 14 years have the owners ever listened to the fan base. The fan base, them sacking Moyes is not because the fan base has demanded it. Let's get that absolutely straight. They did it because it was like a business decision. We like this new German technical director. We like what he's bringing, etc. Let's get a manager who can work with him. Moyes was like, I don't want to work with him. I'm a manager. I don't work with that kind of shit, right? And if it's going to be someone I want to work with, Rob Newman,
that's
for
right.
example,
That is the right way of looking at it. He didn't want to be a head coach,
and so they backed Steidon. And then brought in Lopetegui as a head coach, the first head coach in West Ham history. Remember all the pictures of Steidon. Here and today, ex-WHU employee. Steidon could be on the way out. Okay? That is the ultimate fuck up. They backed this guy in the summer. He spent 25 million quid on Luis Guilherme when he could have signed John Duran instead. Okay? Some of the signings are bizarre. The recruitment was talk about scattergun. Fuck me, that guy had an LMG, an M40.
But I blame I blame the fan base on this, and I will stand.
You can't blame the fan base because the board, as we agree, the board don't give a shit what we have to say.
No, but Rich, listen, right? I'm going to say this. Well, and I'm going to be as honest as I can be. The fan base were gassing up Steidon long before, like they were saying that he's going to be the best thing that ever happens to West Ham. Like. Honestly, what mentality is that when you're gassing up someone? It's like me gassing up Jay, and Jay hasn't done fuck all. Do you know what I'm saying? Jay's the best. Jay's great. Jay's going to be the messiah, and Jay's just fucking turned up here.
I'm clipping that, by the way, after this. Just FYI.
Clip it up. But you get me drift though, Jay, don't you? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just like I don't get why. People needed to people hated the ex-manager so badly that they needed someone to fall back on and believe in. Steidon was that guy. Yeah, it's as simple as that. We discussed it on Spaces. I've done so many Spaces with all the boys that I know. Yeah, and we all said the same thing: is that they're trying to find comfort in Steidon. But the problem is, you ain't never going to find any comfort while the owners still here. Like, and I'm going to be straight and honest with that. Like, we could sit here all night and discuss manager, like technical director, but nothing will change until the main man, the one who has he got the same ambition as all of us as supporters. Goes to a point.
Is a question. Is he already there?
In IEU,
replacing Steidon, is that person already at the club?
No, I don't know.
I think he is, and I think that's noble.
I listen. We'd all love that. Yeah, that would be beautiful, amazing, right? Noble's.
He always seems to be in the background of Steidon, doesn't he? And he always seems to be on the training pitch with Lopetegui and stuff like that, and even coaching youth level. He's there signing the kids up early on in the academy, and I think he's even come out and said next season is the year of the academy in terms of seeing Earthy play more, Alford play more, Marshall play more. There's a contingency plan there. Do you think Noble is learning under Steidon now, so when Steidon leaves, he steps up?
I think so. Yeah, but
because it makes sense, doesn't it? It happens everywhere else.
Steidon leaving this soon. Yeah, he could get sacked, to be honest, for this summer. I mean, some of the transfers were just bizarre. The thing is, right? I came in with that, but I actually came in here because, James, one thing you know about me, right? I'm very critical, yeah, but I'm also an optimist at the end of the day. I always try and see the lighter side of things. And
Very
I think
true.
I think Lopetegui has had a pretty brutal fixture list in terms of the games we expect to win, expect to lose. Right, he's just below par. Yeah, Forest was a bad one, and I think that Alvarez red card, like that's Lopetegui's fault because the setup was terrible, right? But we're just below par. It's not horrendous. Like Ipswich at home. If we'd have lost that, I'd be calling for his head, 100%, right? So I think looking at the fixture list coming up, we got a really nice December, that winter period where suddenly the narrative could start to change. And you talk about Tim Steidten as well, a player like Guilherme, etc.
Yeah.
We're only going to find out Somerville, another one. We're only going to find out their true value in 3 or 4 years' time, really. Okay, these players are players for the long term. And so I do think when looking forward, there is optimism there. And I think if we can just get some results, yeah, it's going to be okay. All right. Now, if we lose at Everton, I think he'd do very well to keep his job. He'd be a very lucky man. I'd be surprised if he gets sacked, but I think he'd be a very lucky man. That being said, though, the point I'm making, I'm not really sure, but the point I'm making is it's all going to be okay. Okay. It's all possibly going to be okay.
I'm going to
Just
stop.
change from going to be okay to possibly going to be okay.
I know, right? I'm going to stop him right there, yeah, because he does crap me up, old Rich, right? First things first, number one, them fixtures in December are good fixtures because they're going to be teams who are going to be all around us if we don't sort ourselves out. But then what happens in December if we don't start picking results up in these games? Like your Bournemouth, your Wolves.
It goes before January.
That's a worry, though, mate. Oh, would you rather let him go now, and then you get someone in who could give you an instant manager bounce? Because someone said it in my comment section the other day, and I make him 1,000% right. Someone said to me, James, is this his manager bounce? And he's only going to get worse.
I always think personally the worst thing that you can do, and many fans would disagree with me on this, but the worst thing you can tend to do is sack a manager, right? Because it's like fuck up. We fucked up big time, right? And it shows as well to prospective managers. I mean, for goodness sake, if you're a manager looking at this club, you'd see them sack a manager after 10 games. And we agreed, this was the point I was making, we agreed this is one of the hardest jobs in the league that he came into. I think replacing David Moyes, the expectation is to get European football. We haven't been on that for a good couple of years, really. We did well sort of scraping ninth last season. Yeah. The expectation of getting European football is huge, because that's what we want. And with the signings in the summer, that's what we expected. So when we're seeing what we're seeing, it's disappointing. But we agreed that he's got a really fucking hard job. Those are massive shoes to fill. David Moyes is the best West Ham manager we've had at least this century. Okay, you might argue Harry Redknapp, Harry Redknapp maybe, okay, but again, when Harry Redknapp left, we never really filled his shoes, and so to expect him to come in and then be the next David Moyes within 10 games is ridiculous. Have the best team within 10 games, it's not going to happen. The problem is the decisions he's making are so disagreeable. Where he's playing Wan-Bissaka, his misuse of Somerville, Kudus on the left. We needed someone who was going to, from the fans' point of view, like I said, attack, right? That's what we wanted. Go for a complete culture shift. We've gone for a manager playing the same sort of brand of football, okay? A bit less likable for the players. He's not got that loyalty clout. He's demanding so much of them. No wonder a couple of them are throwing their toys out the pram, right? It's not forgivable from their point of view, from my point of view as well. I think the players have a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, but I'm going to be straight with you, though, on this.
Because what do? We sack him and then the revolving door starts spinning.
Yeah, but the problem is that what do? Do you keep him and you know it's not right, but you keep him for the sake of keeping him?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to keep him for the sake of keeping him, then we're going to keep having these same conversations until he's here. The problem is with him, with Lopetegui, which I've noticed, and this is why I can't be dealing with it, is that he can't pick his best team. He don't know his best system. He's playing players out of position. He's playing our best players out of position. He's trying to do something in a side that basically needs years of work doing to it. He's trying to do it in 6 months. And this happened, go back 2 years ago. Yeah, 2.5 years ago when Moyes tried to do this with Warburton in charge. And I never forget this. This is why I love doing this game and remembering all them spaces I've done back in the day. Because people were saying, this is why you're trying to set up in a way that it takes years to be like this. It takes years to be a Brighton and all of that. Do you know what I mean? To go in that mould. And we're trying to do it in 6 months. It ain't going to happen, mate. We're going to get done quite a lot.
It definitely isn't going to happen if you sack the manager within 10 games. We beat Man United a week and a half ago, right? You talk about Brighton, Brentford, all these clubs that are well run in your regard. When they make a decision, they stick with it, okay? Even if it doesn't look great to start things off, right? I go back to this. I mentioned this in a space the other day, right? And I know this isn't easy because what we've been seeing is so frustrating. Do I agree with his decisions? Absolutely not, right? This is not the point I'm making. Andoni Iraola, okay? Bournemouth, the thing is, you could see what he was trying to do, and it's harder to see that for Lopetegui. So I do understand that point of view. But Andoni Iraola, when he came in, Bournemouth were a lot worse than we are right now. Yeah.
Right.
And the board stood by and backed him. This is our decision. This is the guy we trust to take things forward. Okay. The board, in my view, have got to do that here. Even if the fans are calling for his head, even if the fans are calling, baying for his head, right? The problem is, as our fans, we're like, fuck me, this is shit. This guy's shit. Look at all the other nice, shiny toys we could get. Edin Terzic, for example, right? Whether they're realistic or not is by the by. The problem is, you can't trust our board to recruit someone else as well. You know, there's so many different things, right?
I agree. I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Right. I agree with you on that point where I look at it and I think, can you really trust the ownership to get this one right? Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But on this one, I look at this man currently right now, and this man's got no fucking clue in what he's doing, Rich. I'm going to be straight. I look at him, I think, like on the weekend, we really all know as supporters what the team's going to be? Yeah. I done a preview a week ago. Me, Jay, Lucas, done a preview. We said that 3 players had to start. All 3 of them didn't start. Right? Suchek had to start, wasn't there? Tadibo had to start, wasn't? You know what I mean? All these players. Yeah, but this was previous, right? With Manchester United.
Different game.
Yeah,
but we beat Man United. You know,
if you're going on that,
remember the first half, Rich. Remember the first half.
Rich, do you remember the first 10 minutes?
No, listen. Was it convincing? Absolutely not. It was a dreadful performance, especially first half. But we won the game.
Yeah.
The number one thing that matters in football is winning football games. Yeah. We went in as winners. We got 3 points. I just think we all agreed in the summer, and we kept having these conversations, right? This is going to be a really hard job. This is a transition year, and the fans haven't been able to stomach it. We want that instant gratification, and the instant gratification at the moment is seeing this guy go out the door. What a joy that will be! Straight on to the next one. Yeah, it's like the transfer window: new signing. Sometimes you just got to have a little bit of patience.
So can I just jump in very quickly, because I agree with all of your sentiment. I didn't want to jump in any earlier because you were cooking, bro. I was enjoying it. So I agree with all of your sentiment. I am of the same opinion where I don't believe we should be chopping and changing managers. That's what Watford do, and look at the state of that club. They have just change manager. They have 3 managers in a season at some point. So I don't ever want to see West Ham go that way. I agree with you. It does take time. I agree with you. We can't just go for these shiny options, these these fashionable names or whatever. But the problem I've got is there are no signs that this guy is going to turn it around. I can accept losing games of football. We're actually, if we beat Everton, statistically, points wise, we're bang on exactly where we were this time last season. But the feeling was different. We trusted that man. When David Moyes was in charge, we trusted him. We didn't always like him. We didn't always like what we saw, but we trusted him. I wasn't, and I was never sitting here calling for David Moyes' head. And what did he do? After we settled down that season, he had us, 5th, just before, maybe just after Christmas?
We were 6th after the Arsenal game.
6th after the Arsenal game. And we were looking up the table, not down it. And then everything goes on.
The downfall from that, though, from that Arsenal game, the downfall, it was people were calling for him to be sacked there and then that season, wasn't he, David Moyes? Even though he was in his last 6 months, because
Yeah, but the problem
they wanted
is,
to salvage that season to still finish top 8, top 7, and win Europa League.
yeah, but the problem is with that, it goes back to the owner, because
Yeah,
the owner had a choice to make. You either back him or you tell us that you're going to let him go. Now,
Yeah.
if you're going to let David Moyes go, fucking tell the fan base. The reason why he went down the pan is because Moyes probably didn't know where he stood. Yeah, and us fans didn't know where we stood. I remember doing a video after the Chelsea 5-0 thumping, and all of us sitting there having to watch that shit at Stamford Bridge. And I said, why don't they just come out and say it? And the following day, he comes out and says it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking, just come out and tell the supporters that we need to know what is going on. Now, I agree with what Rich is saying to a point. Yeah, you've got to give it time and all that. But I do agree with what you say, Jay. Yeah, and I'm very staunch on this. Is that I've not seen nothing from Lopetegui to warrant this geezer staying. Yeah, and the thing is, what do we do if he does pick up results and we finish mid-table? What do we do? Give him another year next year? This geezer's not going to get us to where we want to be, and where we want to be is trying to compete for Europe at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good segue, mate, because obviously the title of your video here is David Sullivan cheap like the Canary. What will Sully pick for West Ham? Do you fancy playing a little game?
Go ahead, mate.
Lopetegui sacked tomorrow. Okay, there's 3. I've got a list here of available coaches. Right, so just give me a yes or no. What you'd have, right? Graham Potter. Yes or no?
I would say yeah.
If I got one word, I'd say yeah.
3 out of 3.
Rich, would you say yeah on that?
Graham Potter. No, I'm saying no. I'm saying to keep the fucking manager, man.
But that's not the game, Rich.
Leave it out,
I'll
Rich.
keep going until you're all in agreement with one person, right?
If he died, Graham Potter, yes.
Yeah.
Not that I want him to die.
There you go.
Joachim Low.
Joachim Low.
Joachim Low would be a great manager, but he hasn't managed a club side for a long time. So
I'd say yeah. I'd have him.
Would he work under? I'll say no. I'll say no on that one.
Okay, Eric Ten Hag.
Absolutely not.
No.
Definitely, 100% yes.
I knew you would say nah. Absolutely not. Like he's a bit too mad for me. I think we need someone who's. We also need someone who's going to know the club. Also, who's going to feel like what we are as fans. Do you know what I mean? And our expectations. Our expectations are. We are a expectation type of club. Do you know what I mean? We do expect big things at this club, especially now.
Here's one for you. Massimiliano Allegri.
Nah, it ain't happening, mate.
What, ex-Juve boss?
Never gonna happen.
He walks in and sees Sullivan sitting there in that fucking chair. It's fucking happening. Absolutely
We
not,
already
mate.
rushing that and going, no, you're all right, mate.
I mean, don't forget, these guys aren't coming in
Terzic.
as managers either. They're
Head coaches, yeah, that's correct.
you know.
Yeah. Edin Terzic.
Terzic, people are not on him, yeah, but I think if you want a long-term project with a geezer who does know the club, he must have some sort of connection with Steiden to a point. Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I really wouldn't. I actually think if I was to have money on it, there'd be 3 candidates I would have. As an outside bet, I'd probably have Rafa because I know what Sullivan's like. Well, that's 100%. Terzic would be where my money would be heavily going on. Yeah, I think Potter. I don't see Potter. I would like him, but I don't see it. I think, but Terzic I can see to a point. I don't know why. I just
What
feel
about
that
Village?
I want to Village, mate. No, fucking hell. Like me, we might as well go back and get Harry Redknapp out of fucking retirement, isn't it? I mean, fuck it. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
I've got a couple more names here. I've got Sergio Coencial,
Yeah.
who was the ex-Porto boss.
100% would take him.
If like now, that's a good appointment. That's a good appointment. That's someone who gets the fan base up and running straight away. But is he a man to come now rather than the end of the season?
the only manager there with Premier League experience, right? And I know that's boring to hear. It was Graham Potter. Am I right in saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I do think with these that is obviously plays a part in our owners' thinking. So in terms of what we want is nice and all right, but it's hypothetical.
Ten Hag though. Ten Hag, son.
Ten Hag, you're right. You're right. I'd be up for that. Attacking manager with a mind for the game. God, he's got a massive mind. Look, but the point is, I think I just don't think it's realistic. It's nice and all.
Nah.
It's a nice game to play because it's like, oh, let's get rid of Lopetegui and let's get these guys in. But we're not the ones making the decisions. We never will be, plainly. And right now, there's one man with the keys, and we know what he's like. I just think with this, we've got a game at the weekend, and right now the players are sort of in a position where they know if they can down tools, if they don't like this guy, they're not really buying into him. They know they can down tools at the game at the weekend and get him sacked. That is a really problematic place for a club to be in, because as soon as that happens, the players get one guy sacked. Man United, power to
Bring him in.
Warnock.
Fucking bring Warnock in, mate. Fuck it. It'll be a party.
Have you
Mate,
guys,
he's always loved West Ham.
Lopetegui though, isn't he the most boring guy ever? Oh my God. Have you watched some of his interviews and that?
Not watchable, mate. They're not watchable.
They're not
I
watchable.
actually agree with what you just said there. They're completely not watchable. I watch about 2 minutes of it, and I'm like, yeah.
Bring me back the Sam Allardyce
Can't
press
relate to it,
conferences,
can
I'd
you?
say. I used to love a bit of Sam Allardyce chaos in a press conference. You never knew what he was going to say. Give me something. Give me something to like be. I can't be excited about the football, but like, give me something to be excited about from the press conference. Just say something interesting. But he's got nothing interesting to say.
It was-
Fuck it, get Nigel Pearson in then.
Yeah,
He'll
might
call
as
everyone
well.
an ostrich.
Mate, ostrich.
Joe, what?
Oh,
Go
Canary.
to Dorking, get Mark White. That's
No,
it.
something.
Get
And he's
that
the
We
big-
can't have him. He ain't got his badges.
That's all right, mate. He'll find the way. He'll find a...
it's the
Another
problem
question,
was-
though.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go for
another question. What ex-Hammer would you have then? I'm not steering towards Lampard on this. That's dead and buried. But there's plenty of ex-West Ham players that are coaches now in the game. I mean, is there anyone for an outside shot that you would have as a coach?
Julian
Like
Dix.
Lionel Scaloni.
Michael Carrick.
Come on, mate.
Well, he asked for a fucking ex-West Ham. Like
He is
he's
Wasn't he
still,
a World Cup winner? Like,
Yeah.
he still owes us for 06 when he
Yeah,
did
he
not clear
does.
that fucking ball, mate.
5 years down the line, get him in.
Yeah.
I think Jack Collerton would be a shout.
Fucking hell. Lampard and Jack Collison. I mean,
Right.
seriously.
Right, the
Yeah,
only
What was
one.
that noise for?
Young up-and-coming manager. And
Right, the
free.
only
Who's his
one
manager?
is
Angel.
Carrick.
Ex-Hammer Carrick, no, come on. But again, that's another uninspiring appointment. And the different Carrick is like Lopetegui, control the game, etc. Right? The difference is Carrick's never managed in the Premier League. You know.
Yeah,
the thing is, Lopetegui's. Yeah.
He managed at Man United. He was
we,
all right
we
at Man
also
United.
we need to drop this Premier League experience gimmick as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because like no, it's not that important. Enzo Maresca, Arne Slot, like the not Sebastian Hoeness, the
Any
Brighton
Brighton manager.
Yeah,
Any
yeah.
Brighton
Never,
manager.
never like
Even
Premier
the-
League experience.
Even
is
the
not it.
Bournemouth manager, everyone raves about.
Yeah. We can't. If
Right.
you keep just going for Premier League like experienced managers, you get this merry-go-round of guys whose ideas become outdated. There's a reason there's no like British managers at the top. It's because the way British managers, like the old school, old guard, the way they ran clubs or the way they set up teams is out of date, and that's where
Who's our owner?
that's the issue.
I-
No, but we're not talking about what is likely. We're talking about what we would want, right?
Yeah.
Because I completely agree with you. This conversation is entirely pointless. Everyone who's watching, you've wasted an hour of your life, haha.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, like what our owner will do versus what we should do are two completely different concepts. I completely agree with you.
So
So are you
let
telling me we're not making a decision?
I reckon if we lose at the weekend, I think he's gone. Because there must be goals at the start of the season. Yeah. I.e., well, what was the? And I asked you boys, what do you think the expectation was at the start of the season? Surely, Lopetegui coming in, having that sort of experience to try and get us into Europe, the money spent, that must be right. That must be it. That must be
Yeah,
like the aim.
I predicted on our podcast top 4, and I said that seriously. I know Rich is laughing, but when you think of the level of expectation, like we've been told that Lopetegui is this new pragmatic coach that's going to get the best out of the players. He's been so successful with the Spanish national team. He's won a Europa League with Sevilla. He's done really well at Porto for a good couple of seasons, unearthing talent like Casemiro. We get told all this spun story, but then on the flip side, we predicted our first Premier League manager to get sacked, and I predicted Lopetegui because the expectation would be so high, so it kind of counterbalancing it. But everyone was saying we won the transfer window this summer. Everyone said it. Sky Sports said it.
Yeah, but we was con there, Adam. Like, but this is where
on reflection after 11 games or 12 games or 13 games, including League Cup games.
Yeah, but we was conned. We was massively conned, and this is, if you want to speak about Steidon, we can, because it seems like people keep bypassing the Steidon conversation, and keep blaming it on everything else other than him. Yeah,
I mean, Nicholas Fulkrug, James. If he's the answer, what's the question?
Yeah, but like, how can I put this? Right,
you can't blame. Workmen can't blame their tools.
But when you are chasing Duran down and hunting Duran down all the time, and then you completely change profile, age, everything that goes on the technical director. It's not on Lopetegui. Well, I'm not going to sit here and blame Lopetegui for that, because Lopetegui's not picking the players. Yeah, he's asking for a striker. He probably wanted John Duran. He was going to get John Duran, and then you completely change tack. Like, there's so much that needs to be addressed in this squad, right? I'll go through it quick. First off, goalkeeper. If we're playing out the back, why have we not got a ball-playing goalkeeper at our club? Don't worry, we've got League One Wes as the third fucking choice. Like, and people won't say anything.
James.
It's ridiculous, yeah. So we're playing at the back, but we ain't got a ball-playing goalkeeper, yeah. Tadibo, good signing, right? And I like it because it's a loan with now, and then you pay for it next year. So it's a very good signing. Wan-Bissaka's
Forest.
He was bad, I must admit. But Wan-Bissaka's not a bad player. I don't know about you, Rich. Yeah, what are you saying about Wan-Bissaka? Because
I really like him. Look, these are great signings. The problem is, like you're saying, these have all come into the team as starters. He hasn't just changed the team; it's a whole new team, and it is like that thing when you're playing with a team the first time. Start of the season or whatever. You've got a load of new players in. It's not going to embed straight away, right? Especially if you're trying to do something complex, which I agree he's doing, maybe too complex. Yeah, I mean, that shape versus Chelsea, for example, what the fucking hell was that, right?
Yeah, off the ball, yeah.
But you and I would both agree, you're naming so many players, and these just aren't squad players that he signed who were slowly embedding their way. These have come in straight away, first game they're sort of starting.
Yeah.
It's not a recipe for success ever throughout history. And I think Lopetegui would know that himself, right? But there's a bit of pressure on him because these are the technical directors' men. These are the guys. This is part of the remit. People talked a lot last season about KPIs and key performance index, and Lopetegui's got to do this and do this. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to hear he's got some clause where he has to keep above 50% possession the way we pass the ball sideways. Yeah, I mean, I'm making that up, right? But it wouldn't surprise me. And there are probably some deals where he's got to play some of these players. This is your backline pairing, right? You've got to make this work.
I just want to say this. What I was saying about Steidon, yeah? Then I'll let any of you boys land on what you want to say, right? Kilman, very good signing, yeah. Proved me wrong. I've got to be honest. I've got to roll the L on this one because I thought when we signed him, it's a lot of dough for a Wolves player. He's come in, he's done a very good job, yeah. Then you go into the midfield. Yeah, and this is where it really fucking grinds me down. Yeah, when you look at Carlos Soler in that midfield, yeah, and I look at James Ward-Prowse, and I think, are you telling me that James Ward-Prowse is worse than Carlos Soler at present? I just don't see it. Yeah, Carlos Soler, waste of time. Guido Rodriguez, too slow. Good player, decent enough player, but something Lucas said. Shout out to that American brother. Yeah, he turned around and said to me, he said, James, when we go 1-0 down, he's as good as useless. Because what can he do? Like, he can't make anything happen. He can't pick the ball up and drive. He can't do nothing. All he can do is be that player that is running around a lot. And that's it. Yeah. So you've got two midfielders there that are shit to a point. And then you sort of go up front and then you look at Somerville, good signing, long term, right? But we all know that, right? It's a long term signing. Nicholas Vorkrug. The problem is with Nicholas Vorkrug is that we don't know how good he's going to be.
Yeah,
But he's been injured. He hasn't done anything, etc. And it just hasn't worked out yet with him. Yeah, Luis Guilherme. Right, we've signed a player that sits on the bench and only come on as a sub against Ipswich Town. Like, and when you sort of break through it all, yeah, we've signed individuals, but we haven't signed a team or a squad good enough to compete in where we want to go. And that's why Steiner's getting the point.
And according to you, that's why Lopetegui should be sacked.
Lopetegui should be sacked. No, but I'm going to say this: Lopetegui should be sacked.
You gave there is why I think we should give Lopetegui some time to bed them together.
Yeah, but the reason why I want Lopetegui sacked is because you're playing Aaron Wan-Bissaka as an inverted fullback. Yeah, and when he's never done it in his career, you're playing Hamid Kudus on the left when he's crap on the left. Yeah, and you are trying to. You can't get a system going, and you can't get momentum going if you keep changing personnel and system week in, week out. Like 1 week you're playing 3 at the back, another week you're playing 4 at the back. And people moaned at it last year with Moyes. Do you know what I'm saying? So what do you want to say, Adam, on Steiden then?
Steiden, I think, again, he's been brought in to introduce a structure to the club that we've never had before. When you think of the way that we're hiring managers now, it's not managers, they're head coaches. We've got an analysis team. We've actually got scouts looking at players now. I think he's been brought in to kind of build the foundation of the recruitment setup. Whether he's here for the long term, that's debatable. But for what he'll leave a good structure in place for someone to take it over. There's a debate as to whether he gets a lot of input in the types of players that he signs. I mean, in his first season, everyone was singing about Alvarez and Kudus on a plane from Amsterdam, when in fact we know for a fact that Mark Noble is the instigator between those deals. He just got Tim Steiden got on a plane and brought him back. But for me, I think the types of players that we're buying, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I quite like Carlos Soler, because I've watched him at Valencia, and I've got Valencian friends that are big fans of him, and they were surprised that he went to PSG on a free. He could have went anywhere he wanted, but went to PSG.
But I'm going to stop you. What's he done for West Ham currently?
But he hasn't played a proper game yet. He's been a bit par player, and he's not played in his position. If we're playing five at the back, you asked me a question. Right, if we're playing 5 at the back and we're playing 2 CDMs in front of that back 5, where's your creativity?
But he's supposed to be there to. He's supposed to be there to be the replacement for Lucas Paqueta. That's why Carlos Soler is here.
If he's the replacement, why is there no obligation to buy in the loan? Why is he just a straight loan and not worried about it in the summer?
He's a straight loan.
There's no option at all.
I read the other day there was a 27 mil option.
There's a 27.
That's all I've read.
There's a 27 mil option, right? Whether there is or not is irrelevant. He's come in. Lucas Paqueta is the creator. When Lucas Paqueta is unavailable, banned, out in Brazil having a bet, whatever, yeah, Carlos Soler is the man who comes in and is supposed to replace him. This man can't create nothing, mate. The only thing he can create is his haircut. Yeah, and basically jelly it up.
James, when he started, though, I do actually agree with this point. Listen, as he convinced me, absolutely not, right? But when he started what, against Man United? He played on the left wing.
He started against Manchester United for 45 minutes, got hooked.
Yeah, he was playing on the left wing. Like what can we expect? He's a central midfielder.
Well, you're saying about keeping Lopetegui, yes. Lopetegui for that, right?
I get Rich's sentiment in terms of like. Right. I'm of the same opinion that I don't like chop and change, but Lopetegui isn't the guy to stick with in that opinion. So it's kind of
it is like you say with
we were so underwhelmed in the summer when he was announced, though.
It's hard to judge Lopetegui as well off this short period of games. We have formed our judgments, right? We all have because
So
of
we've
what
gone back into Lopetegui. We were talking about Stein, didn't we? Sorry, that's my fault.
exactly. But I do think Lopetegui's having to suffer some of the flack. I mean, James, like you say, the midfield shit. I mean, what makes you think getting in a new manager solves any of the problems? Rodriguez too slow. He's not going to make him run faster.
For me,
Sell him in
when
January.
I look at Soler, because that's who we're talking about, Soler, Carlos Soler.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, go on.
I've not seen nothing of this geezer to warrant him even starting a game. And are people telling me that Andy Irving's worse?
We saw exactly the same with Paquetá when he first signed. He was very, very underwhelming for £45 million worth of talent who never really stepped up until February. You know, I think a lot. Paquetá, it was like there was a lot of question marks over him, but then he started to get into his rhythm. Then he started to play well, and then we ended up winning a European trophy because of it, because he started to flourish.
Yeah, but this geezer, Carlos Soler, is not a first-team starter, though, mate. But
Premier League experience, guys, toughest league in the world.
But when he comes in, yeah, he's not playing like a player that we generally need. I don't know about you, Jay. Like, what are you saying on Carlos Soler? Because me and you have said this for ages.
We let James Ward-Prowse go out on loan. How many goal involvements? I want to say 19 off the top of my head. 19 goal involvements
it was a lot
last year, and our direct replacement for James Ward-Prowse, because the deals happened at the same time. As far as the squad goes, this guy was our direct replacement for James Ward-Prowse. So if you're going to make that kind of a transfer, you have to replace 19 goal involvements from somewhere. And if Carlos Soler ain't bringing us 19 goal involvements, which he's not, let's be honest, he'd be lucky if he gets 2 at this rate. But as far as I'm concerned, you have to replace those goal involvements somewhere, and we haven't got it in our midfield. Yeah. So that's a huge, huge problem. It does fall on this guy's shoulders a bit. I do feel for him slightly, but at the same time, he's been brought in. He's the one who played for PSG. He's the one who, as you say, Adam, you watched him at Valencia. Other people were raving about his time at Valencia. I don't care about, personally, I don't care about how good he was at Valencia. I want to see him play well in a West Ham shirt. And as far as I'm concerned, James Ward-Prowse was so undervalued by our fan base for what he actually brought to the team. And we're now seeing that, because we are lacking exactly what he brought to the side. So
because he was Moyes' man, you know.
Yeah.
But are you not enjoying our current set pieces? We got a new set piece coach in. Especially
what set pieces? explain me the set pieces.
the set pieces. I mean, it was epitomised by the genius corner routine, first corner kick versus Nottingham Forest. They've been planning this all week. Yeah, they've got a coach. He comes out, he steps over, and he comes to the edge of the dugout, signals what we're going to do. Bowen stepping up to take, Somerville comes short. Bowen, no, sends him away. Somerville comes into the box. Bowen sort of realises, oh shit. Calls Somerville back over. Somerville strolls over. Quickly pass it to Somerville. Somerville panics, turns around, kicks it backwards. I mean, honestly, it was who is coming up with this shit? See, seriously though, and we actually look. They could have scored a hat trick. Three goals. Chris Wood from us defending corners, which we were brilliant at last season, by the way, and we have been for a long time. We seem to have lost that completely. Our attacking set pieces are some of the worst I've ever seen. The only corner we've scored from and the only attacking set piece, am I right in saying, is Liverpool away? And we all saw what happened there, the own goal. It's an absolute joke. And this is where I think Lopetegui, I think the quality of coaching is really poor. If he gets sacked, I won't be upset. I don't think the club should be sacking someone who they clearly went, this is the right guy, let's replace the best ever manager in my lifetime with, right? Clearly the club, right? Live by that decision, okay? Don't just fucking spin around, right? But fuck me, it's bad. Yeah, we are so fucking shit. We are so shit, aren't we?
Yeah, but the problem is though, like we got. How can I put this? Right, last season there was an excuse to a point to be shit because we had no bench and we was literally using 12, 13 players each time. Yeah, you can say about what you like about Moyes, but that was the scenario. There is no excuse this season for being this bad. There's none. Yeah, and listen,
I think there is. It was the one I said earlier. Whole new team.
It ain't though. Not really. Not really.
Isn't it?
Right, goalkeeper. Right, I'll go for it. Goalkeeper. It's the same goalkeeper that's been here for years.
There, but yeah.
Either way, yeah. Emerson. He's been here for a long time.
Right. So right back, 2 centre halves. Emerson.
Right. The back, the other 3. So you got the right back, 2 centre halves. I agree with you on. Alvarez has been here. Yeah. Then you've got the midfield. Souček's been here. Right. That's another one in there. Yeah. So Paqueta, he's been here. Right. So
Mavropanos.
you've got Mavropanos, same again. You've
I
got
think
Bowen, you've got
if-
Mo, you've got Antonio. I'm going to be straight, right? We can sit here and make excuses, right? And I can understand the bedding in stage, right? Because fucking fan base loves to say that word, bedding in, like fucking Alan Titmarsh. Fuck me. But you've got
That is
to
the
be.
excuse I was making. You don't have to agree with it, but I do think there is
Yeah.
something to be said for that.
Yeah, but you've got to be real though. Some of the old guard, right? And I'm going to say the old guard, for instance, even they're a shadow of themselves, Rich. But a shadow, Paqueta, Bowen, Mo,
It's
right?
not clicked. It's not clicked.
It hasn't. It hasn't
No.
at all. And this is the fear I have with West Ham, and the one thing I always have is people think, oh, we ain't going to go down. Yeah, we ain't going to go down. If we don't sort ourselves out in the next 3 games, right, the time we get to Leicester, we could be in the bottom 3. Yeah, if they start picking up points in the next 3 games and we fail to get any points against Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, and Everton on the weekend, then I'm sorry, but should West Ham be where we are? No, we shouldn't. We should be at least 10th, 9th, maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
but I mean, we're talking what 1 or 2 points between us and 9th. Right? I mean, a little bit more, obviously, but I do think the Premier League table can be misleading at different points in the season.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, Nottingham Forest are third.
yeah,
They're
exactly.
playing good
They're not
football, but
confused.
the question is for how long, isn't it? And you always see, was it the cream always rises to the top? Isn't it?
See, Michael, shout out to Michael, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, valid question. Yeah, for the panel. Why have all our players dropped off a cliff this season?
It's the tactics. And to Rich, to your point, I agree with you. Like, signing a load of players is disruptive and it can take time for them to gel. But the overall point that was made, which was bang on, is the core of the team is still there. If you look back at how did we finish last season? We finished last season in the top half, but having conceded the most goals we've ever conceded in a Premier League campaign, right? So on face value, you need to go and improve the defense, which is what we've done. We've gone and improved the defense. And by and large, the rest of the team is pretty much the same. Because our best midfield, what is it? Souček, Alvarez, Paqueta, Bowen, Kudus, Antonio. That's pretty similar to what we were playing last season, right? And you've just added better defenders in. No. But what I'm saying is, so on face value, is you just need to improve the defense and then you should improve as a team, right? We've gone backwards, and all of those players who were playing well last season are now not playing well. So it has to be the tactics. There is no other way of looking at this other than the tactics are wrong.
Complete change in coaching staff is another one. Yeah,
which also contributes to the tactics as well. So
I
accept
agree.
that.
I agree. Tactics partly, but I do think, you know, players had these loyalties. Moyes was not there for a season, right? These were long entrenched. The players that were playing here were players Moyes had signed and had become West Ham players under Moyes. The problem is Moyes had an identity. We don't have that right now with this guy.
I was just about to raise that. That would have been my answer, is the lack of identity of what we are. We don't know whether we're a stubborn football club where we sit back and then shit out a result, or we're a free-flowing counter-attacking team, or we're just a gung-ho team. We don't know exactly what we are. You could look at Brentford and go, they're a gung-ho side because they score a goal within the first 2 minutes of a game. You could look at Chelsea, where they're like a possession-based under Maresca, and then you could look at Tottenham, where they're a bit more attacking than usual, and will go full hog with it under Ange Postecoglou. What is West Ham? What is Lopetegui's West Ham? I don't know.
Have you got an answer for that, James?
West Ham for me is a counter-attacking side, because we are not good enough to control games. I don't know how people can't really understand this. West Ham don't control games, right? They never have for all the years I've watched them. Yeah, unless you're playing teams that are like League One standard, but even then, like West Ham have been done in the past, right? The best way of summing West Ham up was COVID season. Yeah, sit back, and hit teams hard and fast on the break with four attackers. Yeah, back then it was Lingard, Benrahma, Bowen, and Antonio. Yeah, that's how West Ham should be. We should be hard to beat. We should be a stubborn bastard, and then what we should do, we should hit these teams fast and hard on the break. And the problem is now people have seen football evolve as a whole, and now they want to see, oh, you know what, we want to play this controlling game. The problem is teams are playing straight through the middle of us because they know that we don't know what we're doing. We've done it 2 years ago, and I'll never forget this under Mark Warburton and Moyes. We tried to do it with like 3 at the back and wing backs and all this game and trying to control, and that was the start of us really having a shit season. And the start is here. The problem is with Lopetegui. The one thing I do fear the most with Lopetegui is that I don't see how he gets any better, and that's a major concern for me because when I look at him, I think he can go a lot worse, mate. Because like I really do, because I can't see how he gets any better. Right, the reason why I think he can't
get
get
worse than that Forest game. I think that's as bad as it gets.
Chelsea was bad, and listen, Newcastle.
I'm glad you brought up Chelsea because I wanted to talk about this earlier when it came up earlier. The thing with the Chelsea game is that's what happens when you've got managerial uncertainty. And so if we're going to spend the next 2 years where Lopetegui in, Lopetegui out, or even the next season, we are going to have a few of those Chelsea games potentially. Yeah, because Edson Alvarez, right? I mean, that Forest game, he's got to take a lot of responsibility for. He got Moyes sacked for his performance in that Chelsea game, subbed off at half time. I think he betrayed him there. And he's just betrayed another manager. This time I didn't think he meant to. Okay. But this is what happens, when you've got a manager on the edge, players do the extra thing where they wouldn't have done, or players do the opposite. You know what I mean? It creates tension. Edson Alvarez, not happy with you, mate.
I agree. Right, I'll have to back move in a minute. Right. Yeah, Rich, any final words from you, son, before I let you go?
Yeah, sorry, I've waffled on a bit. Listen, I think Everton's going to be a tricky game because Dyche has some pressure on him as well. They're going to be well up for that game. They need the points. I think we win it. I think we win it. I mean, these suspensions and stuff are killing us at the minute. Paqueta is all right to play, I'm pretty sure. But I don't think it will be easy. I don't think it will be convincing. I don't think it'll be comfortable, but I do think we'll win. And I think when the players get more used to it, the team start to gel. To be honest, they need a trip to Ibiza or something, team bonding. Yeah, that's what this team really needs. They need to just gel a bit, relax a bit. Right now, it's all on edge, lots of individuals. Do I think Lopetegui's the man to bring this together? I can't be 100% sure. Based on what I'm seeing, I'm not convinced, right? But he's the man our board have chosen. He's the man Tim Steidman has chosen. He's the man that's been chosen to replace Moyes. And we might not like it, but we've got to accept it. Okay. Can I see him going? Almost certainly not, right? Almost certainly not, unless the board decide to do something that they've never done. Yeah, and completely turn on the manager straight away. I just simply can't see it happening. We need full crew back. That's the answer.
What was that? I missed that one.
Adam, any final words from you, mate?
Oh, Jesus. How long you got? Hashtag E20 mug. No, that's what's being said in the comments. That's my final word. No, I think action needs to be taken at the club, whether it's forcing Lopetegui to change his style or whether it's forcing Lopetegui out of the door. Something needs to happen to kind of keep this season on track, because we've already been knocked out of one cup competition this year. We're not in any European competitions this year. We've got a Premier League that we can be more competitive in now because we've got less games. I think we need to get someone in for instant results now with a team that we spent a lot of money on, and that's going to come at a cost. So a cost that David Sullivan didn't want to have in the first place by being cheap like a canary, as you said. But the real question is who, and that's my final words on that.
Fair enough, Adam. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me come on.
No worries at all, mate. That has been Adam. Before I hand it over to Jay for his final say, because it seems to be kicking off in the chat. I've
got eyes on it and always proper funny.
I've got to get to it. Right. Listen, I'm doing a giveaway at Christmas. Yeah. a legendary mug. I've spoke to people, and with me, I like to give back to the community, yeah, and give back to the people, basically. Yeah, it's a little present from me. I'm going to do like a little giveaway. I'm probably going to give away about 5 or 6 of them. In fact, yeah, they're a tenner a pop, but I've already sorted it out with a geezer. And listen, I want you to put this in the comment section after the video's done, not in the chat. Comment section. E20 mug for Xmas. If you keep saying E20 mug, it just ends up in a fight. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like to give back to people. Yeah, that's one thing with me. I've done it ever since I've started the YouTube game. I've give shirts away. I've give money away. I've give all sorts of shit away. Yeah, over the years. Yeah, I'm going to give away a few mugs this year. And if I can get a shirt for people, I will do. Yeah, and that'll be like a little special thing. But we'll see if the 3:30 at Kempton pops in at any time soon. So yeah, well, I have to get to me on to me betting, mate. So that tag after the video is over in the comments section. E20 mug for Xmas. Yeah. Jay, final words from you, sir.
Or James would love it if after every tweet that he posts, you put hashtag E20 mug in the replies. I think James would really enjoy that.
What a mug!
It'd be probably about the same as most of your Twitter interactions at the moment. To be fair,
I'm dealing with fucking mugs at the minute. 100%, yeah.
Not much for me. It was a really nice conversation with. So thanks to Adam and Rich for coming on. Shout out to Colin, the main man. What a good bloke. My E16 brother. Always a pleasure to see you in the chat, my friends. Luis Guillaume goal incoming for us very soon, I hope. Just a good chat with some good lads. Enjoyed it. I'm sure we'll be back very soon for the preview for the Everton game, and fingers crossed we pick up a result. So yeah.
Listen, I appreciate everyone who's come on. Shout out to Colin also for giving us that £2. It goes a long way, mate. It really does. If you want to come on this platform, do what Adam done. Do what Rich come. The link is always there. Come on, have your say. Do you know what I'm saying? You're more than welcome on here. So yeah, and yeah, that's it. I really enjoyed that because that was quite open and honest. Yeah, and I do like that. It's a good way to be. Shout out to Dad's podcast. Thanks, lads. We'll catch up soon. Follow our podcast. Will do, mate. 100%.
Good lad.
Good man. Do you know what I mean? Adam's always welcome on here. I think Adam's local to me, or used to be local to me. I think he used to live in Hornchurch, if I remember rightly. So yeah, shout out to Adam. Right, I'll be back tomorrow, probably. Everton preview. Me, Jay, hopefully Lucas. And yeah, and listen, put it in the comment section after the video, not now. Do you know what I'm saying? It goes a long way. Right, that's enough from me. Thank you very much for the super chats. It really means the world. And I will see you tomorrow for the preview. Everton at home. Lopetegui, get it right. Peace.
Come with me,